Whoa.
No pass.
Well, whoops. Okay, we're there. All right, so in front of you, you have policies, well, several policies. What we're going to do is start with, hold on, let me get the right piece of paper.
Now, the ones you're going to suggest are first reads.
We're going to start with IMGA, IJOA, IJOA-R, and IMDA-R. So I'm going to make an motion to approve the first read of policies IMGA, IJOA, IJOA-R, and IMDA-R.
Okay.
Okay, so give us a second to find them, okay?
Yep, IMGA is service animals. IJOA is field trips and excursions.
Fine.
IJOA-R is field trips and excursions, the regulation, and IMDA-R is patriotic exercises. If I could just explain the motion as to why I'm putting these
I'm still up
together.
at field trips and excursions, Kristen.
Yeah, that's fine.
Second the motion, so it gets seconded.
Okay, seconded by Megan.
I second.
Okay, discussion.
IMGA is required by the New Hampshire School Board Association because we don't currently have a policy on service animals. And if we were to have a student or a faculty member or anybody who works at the buildings require a service animal, we have to have a policy on that. I'm not sure at this time that we do, but it doesn't matter. Field trips and excursions, IJOA, is a recode from ICA, and there was very little modification on this policy. We did have the principals look at this policy, and the suggestions in blue are their suggestions, and the same goes with the -R policy. The IMDA-R, which is patriotic exercises, is a regulation recode from INDB. Somehow we inadvertently forgot to take the R policy with the regular policy when we adopted the regular policy back in October. I think it was October 20th of last year. So we just need to adopt the regulation policy, and as you'll see, the only recommendation that we're having for change is adding the legal references and the cross references to the state statute and to the IMDA patriotic expression policy. So there's very little change on most of these, and most of it's mandated by either state or staff. So that's why I grouped these together. So discussion on those policies.
Okay.
Okay, any questions? Okay, with no questions, to go further to 4. Yeah, there's enough. All those in agreements to accept the first read? Ann?
I'm in agreement.
All those in favor of accepting the first read? Looks like everybody here. Okay.
That's just
Yeah.
no motion there.
Okay, next, go ahead,
All
Kristen.
right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the first read of BEDB. All by its lonesome.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Yes, Ann?
I would like to, can I table this? Can I ask, or can I not ask to table this?
Well, can I just tell you why it's been put on for
You may,
approval? Okay,
absolutely.
so there is a slight, I just noticed this tonight, and I apologize for not getting it fixed sooner, but I noticed that there's 2 things on here that are supposed to be amended, and there's only one in blue. If you notice under number 3A, preliminary actions, according to our agenda tonight, we're actually doing nominations as A, and announcements drop to B, correspondence drops to C, accommodations drops to D, so on and so forth. We need to add that nominations above announcements, so that should be there in blue.
Would it say nomination staff changes or what?
Yeah, it would say nominations of staff.
Or should it say
that would-
superintendent nominations?
Sometimes they're not
Yes,
nominations.
superintendent nominations is fine.
But sometimes people resign.
Or yeah, So are nominations or resignations? Yeah, okay. So that's why it's on here, for that reason. And then, again, the Pledge of Allegiance was raised as an issue at the workshop meeting that we had last time. So the Pledge of Allegiance has been added, and the nominations and / resignations should also be added.
So on the nominations, that would be the A and the preliminary action.
Right.
And it could read, nominations or changes in staff?
Sure.
So those are the only two changes?
That's correct.
Yes.
I see, our Leon is our current superintendent. Does that have to be changed?
I don't think it's necessary to have any name,
It's not necessary to have a name?
because you'd have to change it every year.
No, 'cause then we'd have to
Okay,
change
so maybe,
it.
could we eliminate that?
Superintendent. In policy, it should just list the superintendent rather than a specific name.
Okay.
Okay,
So
what are we striking?
the name of the superintendent, it should see respectfully submitted Oyster River ORCSD superintendent.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Could you read what change we just made?
That in under preliminary actions, it's gonna say nomination, superintendent nominations or changes to staff. And under, Roman numeral 1, call to order / pledge of allegiance.
Okay, Ann?
We've talked, this policy is less than a year old. It was last revised in September. I remember we worked very hard on that when I was on the policy committee, trying to make it more efficient. And that's actually one of our board goals, is to be a more efficient board. I don't think we are more efficient when we do policies less than a year apart. I think we've talked quite a bit about different ways we can change our board meetings and have them run more efficiently. We've talked about having a working meeting and a business meeting. We've talked about different ways that we could function. I know we've also talked about maybe this format doesn't quite work. We changed a lot in our working session. We took out most of our committees. Do we need to have a section on school board committees anymore? There are just a lot of things that I think could be changed. Lee also mentioned at that meeting that there was an inconsistency between this policy and another policy that referred to agenda. One said, well, the board or something to be made 72 hours, another one said 48 hours. So there's that inconsistency. That's why I want to table this. I think we need to give more thought to how we can be a more efficient board. And I have a lot of other changes as well. It seems like we're rushing through this so we can say the Pledge of Allegiance before the meeting, basically. But really, I think what we need to do is each think, what can we do to this agenda that give it our best thinking to make a more efficient board meeting, instead of just right now at, 9:45 at night, throw out a few ideas so that, in less than a year we redo it again, because that's not being a very efficient board. I think we need to give it some thought. And I think it needs to be changed. I think maybe if we have we think about that workshop / business meeting idea and different things like that, we could actually give it a few months and really talk about it and do it right. So I'd like to table it.
Yes.
This was the agenda on July 20th. Notice on the top where it says revised. So that was already revised, and then under the leadership of Mr. Levesque, certain changes were made to make it flow more efficiently. That was done almost on the fly, and it seems to work well. If you'll notice also, in trying to be more transparent in what we do, Mr. Levesque has suggested that we remove the closed session. I think that's great. I think it's fantastic. So changes do flow. But I think, I've gone to a couple of other school board meetings, and the Pledge of Allegiance is just a way to start. And I think that everything considered, I think this is the crux of the issue. Do we as a board want to say the Pledge of Allegiance? I don't view it as a litmus test, nor do I view it as a test of anything. I mean, my personal motivations for wanting to do that is because I coach some kids that have come back from the Middle East, and
Okay,
Whatever.
yes, Kristen.
I believe that when we did this policy last year, we agreed as a board during the first or second read that we would look at it after a year. If it wasn't working, we revise it again, because I think, we learn things from practicing it. That's the only way you're going to know if something works.
Right.
But at our workshop meeting, Lee suggested that we don't go changing the whole agenda right now, that we just work with what we have and we go from there. My concern with not accepting this first read has nothing to do with the Pledge of Allegiance, but moreover the nominations, because we have decided as a board that that is important to us, that we're going to try not to use our closed session as much as possible, and that we're going to vote our nominations in public. So I think that is important to add to this agenda, whether we're going to plan on changing the agenda or not. I think the agenda is going to be a moving document throughout the life of this school board, the next school board, the school board after that, and we're just going to try to change it to make it better and more efficient. But, it should reflect what we're doing now.
Thank you. Yes, Ann?
Well, if you want to change it and add the Pledge of Allegiance, that's not going to make me feel like I'm being a better board member. And I think when we fiddle around with the agenda for board meetings, our goal should be trying to be having the most efficient board meetings and doing what we can to have that's not going to do anything for me on that front. Add it on there if you'd like, if that is important to you. What will make, for our board goals, making this an efficient board meeting, there's a lot we can do. If you want to take a look at this 9 months down the line and add it on, in my mind, that's redundancy, that's inefficiency, and we could be looking at another old, when you see how times something has been revised, it just, to be honest, that just seems kind of silly. If you want me to go through my many changes on here, I'm happy to do that, because I do have many.
Go ahead.
Okay.
first
One
read.
second. Now, she asked for a tabling. Are you making a formal motion to table
I
this?
asked if I could table it, but I didn't know if I could because there might have been a motion on the...
There is a
I didn't know
motion
how
on the
it
table.
works.
to
Well,
accept
there
the
is a
first read.
motion. So I would think that a motion to table might be in order to get it out of the way. We have to figure out if there's a second,
vote on this current
and then go forward with voting on that, yea or nay, if it has a second. So is there anybody seconding Ann's tabling motion? Okay, with nobody seconding, we'll go on to the original motion. Is there any further discussion on the original motion?
Then I'm discussing my changes.
You can, go ahead.
She asked me what they were. I'm
Yeah,
telling.
go ahead.
Okay. On page 1 of 2, the fourth line down, it says their quest must be received a minimum of 7 days. I assume that means their request. In the second paragraph, it says, in the second line, affiliated organizations no later than 2 days prior to a regular meeting or workshop. Again, this is contradictory to that other agenda, one that says 72 hours. So which one do we want?
Okay, are you suggesting we should go with one or the other?
Well, we need
Yeah,
consistency.
yeah, we do.
Okay,
We need to go
that's
one or
fine.
the other. Okay.
what do you prefer? 72 hours?
Pardon?
Longer.
Oh, I'm not making any suggestion.
Okay, no.
So
Go
this
ahead.
is all going to
Keep
go
on.
to the policy
Right,
committee.
it's a first read.
So
Okay.
This is
Yeah.
what's
We can come
supposed to
back with
happen on a
something.
first read.
Okay.
Okay, next.